person, Anna Steinerchino. Welcome. And we're now going to be closing off submission of public comments.
Hello, council members. I'm Anna Steinerchino, and I am a rising senior at Gunn High School, and I'm here with the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition. So teaching elementary age students in climate education workshops have made me realize how important climate issues are to the youth in Palo Alto. I'm deeply inspired by their out-of-the-box thinking and eagerness to create new solutions that will help the community around them. Taking inspiration from the energy of these kids, I hope the new council season will continue to push forward the goals of the SCAP, alongside implementing specific and effective infrastructure to accommodate electrification. Using the 80/30 goal as a guideline, I advocate for the implementation of programs such as the heat pump water heater rollout. Not only will this benefit the load of the electric grid, it would also be a cost-effective step towards electrification. In addition, developing new climate initiatives to include equity and justice will set a powerful standard for municipal climate policy. Steps towards climate mitigation and accessibility should not be mutually exclusive. I urge the City Council to work towards furthering these climate policy goals and leading the way to decarbonizing Palo Alto one step at a time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Hanna Kim, to be followed by Mayra King, both here in person. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Anna, and I'm a rising senior at Castellia School, and I'm also a member of PASCC. I'm here in support of Palo Alto's SCAP plan and in support of electrification, which is essential for reducing Palo Alto's overall emissions. So the climate is definitely something that I often think about, and I know it's something that my friends and my classmates care deeply for as well. And it's really easy for us to feel kind of pessimistic learning about the environment. But when I remember how Palo Alto runs on carbon neutral energy, or I visit the nature preserves around the city, or even when I'm just able to bike around town safely, I'm left feeling a lot more hopeful about the future. And I'm very grateful for the work that you all have done in sustainability and incentivizing the transition to electricity by supporting the water heater electrification rollouts. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mayra King, to be followed by Simon De Silva, both here in person. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Mayra King, and I'm a 17-year-old resident here. I'm also a PASCC member. I moved here in 2018 with the perspective that Palo Alto, the tech capital of the world, was the pinnacle of climate activism. Compost bins did not exist in my small East Coast town, and I was particularly amazed by the robotic maneuvers of the dump trucks. Yet as time has moved on, I've come to realize Palo Alto has continuously failed to meet its climate goals. We have failed to meet both our energy efficiency goals in 2019 and 2020, and the SCAP had been initially developed when I arrived, yet I have not yet seen it be fully rolled out to its full effect. Why is that? But like Anna, I believe in the hope I once saw in Palo Alto, and with Gavin Newsom's support with car-to-building electrification, I urge Palo Alto City Council to support electrification further as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Simon De Silva, to be followed by Katie Ruff, both here in person.
All right. Good evening, Council. My name is Selena Silva, and I'm glad to be speaking here today in person. I just graduated from Gunn High School and am a co-founder of the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition. Today, I want to talk about the 2023 California Building Code cycle. Already, city officials from Los Altos and San Mateo and others have indicated interest in seeing what course of action Palo Alto takes. It comes in reference to a January 1st implementation date for the codes, as well as Peninsula Clean Energy's release of model building codes that encourage existing building electrification a few weeks ago. Let's make one thing clear. SCAP and its 80/30 goal are not attainable without existing building electrification. We have 7 years left to reach our goal, and yet we're on track to miss a perfect opportunity as existing building electrification has been left out of the code recommendations for this coming cycle. So with these codes coming up for council action in the next few months, I hope that council puts in full-throated support for existing building electrification. The wording is already out there. It's already on the Bay Area Reach Code site with exemptions, strong exemptions, and that's been queued as one of the reasons that we're not considering it for this cycle. So please, I ask that we prioritize existing building electrification in the upcoming Reach Codes amendments. The public is behind this because this is a matter of science, this is a matter of urgency, and this is a matter of youth. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Katie Ruff, to be followed by Julia Zeitlin here in chambers, both. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. It's a pleasure to be standing before you all again. My name is Katie Ruff, and I'm a rising senior at Gunn High School. I'm also one of the co-founders of PASCC, or the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition. I know it's a mouthful. I know by this point you've heard enough from me to understand how important I believe our climate's future to be, and I know that you care about it too. Many of you have supported my peers and me in taking the next steps in our own sustainability efforts. You marched with us either physically or in spirit last Earth Day. You met with us at odd hours to include us in the SCAP conversations, and you collaborated with our adult allies to hash out the details of this complex sustainability plan. Council, I would like to thank you. You've empowered me and made me proud to belong to a movement like the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition, a movement that aims to prioritize its citizens, just as you all have prioritized us in pushing our leaders to take the next step in our city's sustainable path. Of course, I join the chorus of voices that have come before me today and telling you what I believe and what I hope you will all come to believe is the next step in this journey. Prioritizing the passage of the SCAP, complete with strong, innovative programs, including a heat pump water heater rollout. I know our city is pioneering this field, and I know that comes with an immense burden, both on our city employees and on you all. Through my experience with PASCC and 350 Palo Alto, as well as a couple of other organizations, I have developed a nuanced understanding of this process. There are so many details and logistics to work out, but our city is ready. More and more people are starting to walk around talking about electrification. Ordinary citizens are electrifying, and neighbors are pushing neighbors. And so too must we push each other. This truly is a climate movement and is in this town, and I urge you all to remain the leading figures of it. Thus, despite the arduous road ahead, I'm confident that our next steps will be worth the time and energy. Thank you so much for your time. You've inspired me, and I hope in some way we can inspire you as well.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Julia Zeitlin, to be followed by Todd Burke remotely. Welcome.
Hi. Good evening, council members. I hope you are doing well. My name is Julia Zeitlin, and I'm a rising junior in Palo Alto and a co-founder of the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition, or PASCC. And as you can see, several students from PASCC have gathered in person and online today to communicate our support and further encouragement of bold climate action. We stand in front of you today in the summer of 2022 as climate change is becoming nationally recognized as a global threat, and our leaders are uniting and agreeing to take a stand. Congress is currently on track to pass the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, which includes a $369 billion climate package that would cut emissions to 40% below 2005 levels by the end of the decade. This bill will invest in green technologies like wind energy, solar power, carbon capture, and electric vehicles. While there are drawbacks and compromises that were made that weaken the impact of the bill, if even moderate Democrats like Joe Manchin are willing to take a stand, it is evident that this crisis can no longer be denied. As action is being taken nationally, local changes are becoming ever more important in this global transition. We are here today to speak for the youth of Palo Alto. As students from all over the city, we implore the council to make climate action, the SCAP, and reducing both commercial and municipal natural gas use your #1 priority. We urge you to gather your resources and influence as council members towards implementing the most recent electrification initiative of the ad hoc committee that aims to replace 1,000 water heaters in homes with electric heat pump water heaters. We urge you to create and improve the contract for this electrification initiative as soon as possible and in a unified manner, work towards encouraging and incentivizing the transition away from natural gas. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Maya, and I'm a junior at Gunn High School and a member of the Palo Alto Student Climate Coalition. I also wanted to take a moment and express my support for Palo Alto's Sustainability and Climate Action Plan and its push for electrification. I first became aware of electrification this past year as I joined youth-led groups like this to advocate for swift and effective action. And I've learned just how important this is, particularly in the Bay Area, because we act as trailblazers and we set the precedent for the rest of the state and the country as a whole. So for cleaner air, more affordable home costs, and a better future for our area and globe, I urge the council to move forward towards this better future, specifically by putting together your collective resources and power as council members towards implementing the most recent electrification initiative of the ad hoc committee that aims to replace water heaters in homes with electric heat pump water heaters. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rebecca Eisenberg, to be followed by our final speaker, Jonathan Ehrman. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very grateful for the articulate, meaningful, and educated words of the young adult high school speakers who have been speaking to you tonight. And I urge you to listen to the words of Mr./Ms. Steinerchino, Kim, King, De Silva, Ruff, Zeitlin, and most recently, Prakash. This is why they are examples of why Generation Z must be empowered, They must be listened to. Here are some ways you can do that. 1, impose actual term limits. Not these joke term limits that allow a council member to take 2 years off and return. 2, impose campaign contribution limits, which shamefully you still refuse to do, even though they're everywhere else. 3, put vote 16 on the ballot. It's not too late to do that. Had 16 and 17-year-olds been able to vote in 2016, we never would have had Trump. They make good choices, while older people often do not. Imagine if you were a member of Gen Z, like these informed young adults, you know that irreversible climate disaster is a mere few years off. Yet none of the adults whom they are told to trust and who are literally paid like you are to protect their interests demonstrate any sense of urgency or concern. We know, for example, that single-use vehicles contribute 41% of carbon pollution worldwide. Yet here in Palo Alto, where we can afford electric shuttles, we used to have them. You refuse to even consider putting them back on the streets. Similarly, you delay the construction of safe bike lanes and even had to return $1 million of bike lane grant money because you never got around to using this free money to enable non-car transportation. Please act for the environment, act for our future, and do it now. Thank you.